If you were at my live video this morning, you may have noticed my sentiment this morning was very, very down because at least usually they are sneaky in how they mess with the data. Usually they are sneaky in how they rig the data, and today it was not so sneaky, and that really, really upset me. And therefore, I am a new member of that AMC and GME crowd. I bought AMC today, and I am taking that play up. And I told you guys about a technical signal that I found in my research late last night. I researched it for like 4 hours straight just to see what the technicals look like, and I'm going to share that with all of you. But to show my initiation into this, I put together a short film for you, and I would like you guys to check that out. And in no way am I against this crowd. This is my initiation into the APE community or AMC GME community with this move to stick it to those big guys. I am in this move now, and I'm going to show you guys how that move is proven in the technicals after this. But first, I wanted to show you guys that short film, and then we're going to get into why I believe that this move actually can happen, and we're going to get into some technical analysis for the SPY Qs, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, NVIDIA, AMD, and Meta going forward, and we're going to look at AMC and GME as well. Please enjoy that film. If you are a little bit sensitive, if you don't necessarily like to see things, that this video is slightly graphic, but it has a good message in it, and this is my overall initiation into it. I hope you enjoy it.
Is this a video of a man drinking his own urine because the stock went up?
#1 post on the site.
Where did you get this?
My analyst sent it to me.
They call themselves apes and R words? Retard? Can they say that?
Remarkably self-aware. They've hooked into GameStop for whatever reason.
They think it's funny, it seems.
I think it's funny. I think they think it's a good investment.
Retail traders always lose. We've actually been short GameStop since 2014. The company is a complete disaster. They've had 6 CEOs in 2 years. Guess these guys are ignoring obvious secular market trends, or they are the stupidest people on earth.
You're shorting more right now, aren't you?
600,000 shares, maybe.
Dumb money, man.
Happy to take it.
Oh shit. I'm so fired.
This was the moment everything fell apart. I lost my job. I lost my apartment. And my car. This was the worst day of all time. I was totally fucked. And not only that, but the only sad excuses for friends I had all showed their true colors. Getting fired from a minimum wage job is so fucking incredible. This should be interesting. I've never dined and dashed before. But better this than starving. You're not real.
Never seen you here before.
Right back at you. What do you want?
You need some cash.
I need some cash. Yeah, I want cash. Why the fuck are you giving this to me?
I'm like you. I can help. I let the fear consume me. Every time I cross the street, I envision myself getting run over.
Wow. That got dark.
What's your trauma?
My dad was a scumbag. He beat the piss out of me every day.
Are you ready for the check?
Yeah. Yes, please.
A fair bit of rain still further north, left over from last night's weather system.
survives. Fuck the blueprint, I'll redesign. Death or exile, you decide. Tell them all that I mean my name. Tell them all that I play my way. From the feeling went face to face. Now it's mine to stand up and flame. Right here is as far as you go. That's right here is where I lose control. This right here is as far as you go. Burn it all down, burn it all down. I don't give a fuck. Burn it all down, burn it to the ground. Things on flames, go inside. Burn it all down, burn it all down. Fuck what they say, fuck everything. Lies and rush, carefully. Kill it all, kill everything and burn it all down, burn it all down. Inside when I close my eyes, vision built that you can't deny. Born and bred to take back what's mine. Break about out, you decide. Tell them all that you can't be saved. Tell them all that you dug this grave. Learn to live in this mess you made. Now it's mine to stand up and fight. That's right here is as far as you go. That's right here is the end of the road. This right here is as far as you go. So burn it all down, burn it all down. I don't give a fuck. Burn it all down, burn it to the ground. Things on flames, go inside. Burn it all down, burn it all down. The time is up, there's no return. Fuck them all, watch them burn. Yeah, 'cause I don't give a fuck. Fuck what they say. Fuck everything. Lies and rush. Carefully. Kill it all. Kill everything and burn it all down. Burn it all down.
Now, don't get it twisted because I beat up the 2021 HODLER, right? Don't get it twisted. I am all for it. That was just an initiation into the crowd, into that crowd of people. And because I didn't get to participate in it last time, I didn't understand it and I didn't know what the movement was. Now I get it. And I think we are in a time where everyone can be a little bit pissed off with the environment that we have going on in our economy, going on at the grocery store, going on with the housing market. You can just create a whole list of things to be pissed off about. And so I believe this move can happen. And I am very, very happy to be in this. And I don't care if I lose everything. I'm going to hold all the way through. So at this moment, what are we going to do? We're going to look at AMC. We're going to be talking about this because AMC is the one that I did most of the research on. The reason I had to do AMC was because they halted GME. Of course they halted it, right? Another reason just to piss you off is they halted it. People in my live chat, the first few people that came in were just really, really upset. And so I am here to stick it to them with you guys. I'm not saying you should invest in it in any way. This is not financial advice to take this trade by any means, but we are going to show you guys how it happened last time and how it could be happening again. And the first thing we have to do is we're going to go through our little checklist. We did this live, but I think it's very powerful to go through this checklist. And the first thing is, are people upset? Right? What is the mentality of the average person out there? And the mentality of the average person, and this is why I took the AMC trade, part of it, is just because I was really upset with this data. So I'm going to pull up the data right now. All right, today we got PPI month over month, and that is going to be 0.5, and then the previous is negative 0.1. And this is what's really upsetting to me is the fact that the stock market ended up going higher today on a higher PPI reading month over month. The core PPI goes up month over month, and then the core PPI year over year. Everything was up, and therefore the market really should have reacted to this to the downside. We should see those yields climbing higher. But the unfortunate thing here is this previous was actually different last night. Last night, this previous said 1.8 or 1.4, one of those two, and then it changed. They revised it down to negative 0.1, which can cause confusion and overall say, hey, we actually got a negative number last time, so this 0.5 isn't that bad in this environment. And that is something that really, really ticked me off because I mean, I'm sure it ticked off a bunch of traders out there just because I know that it hurts a lot of people. I didn't necessarily like lose any money. I wasn't super taking a bunch of shorts or anything like that for today, but I just know that this really ticks people off. And that is what I'm talking about when I talk about AMC and why this overall move can be huge this time. You are now in an environment where the average person is pissed off at rich people. They are mad. The rich people get richer in this environment, in this inflationary environment. We're currently in a short squeeze with the market, so this can squeeze. But at the same time, what is going on? we have an environment where, what does data just mean nothing? Should we, they should wait until the next month to release that data, in my opinion. Now, the other thing that we need behind this move is some form of marketing. And the funny part is, last time Roaring Kitty did not have a following. He really did not have that big of a following, and then now he has 1.1 million followers, and I'm loving these videos he's posting. They're so much fun to watch throughout the day. I literally was like, I turned my notifications on for his page, and I don't use my Twitter at all. I don't use it at all, and I was using it all day today just because of Roaring Kitty. So the marketing, we have a check there. So as of right now, what do we have? Well, we have angry people. Okay, check. So people who want to fight against the system, and that's exactly what AMC and GME is doing right now. And by the way, you can take all the information that I'm going to give you on the technical side and apply it to GME. We're just going to talk about AMC today. Marketing, we got to give you a check there. You have a bigger marketing than last time. So can this squeeze based on those two things? Yes. Now, we talked about the short interest, and the short interest, we can pull that over on the screen real quick. Now, this number could have changed by now. I don't have updated numbers. So this was actually back in April 30th, 2024, the last one that I grabbed. And this is one that was telling me, okay, the short percent of float was 20.13%. And I think the last time that this happened, it was at like 18%. So is the short squeeze opportunity there? Yes, it is with that. So we can give that another check mark. Okay, so a big check mark for that one. And then what is going on with AMC itself? And this is where we're going to dig into AMC a little bit. But AMC is actually twice as profitable as it was, or at least it's performing twice as good as it was during the last squeeze. So you're actually looking at an environment where AMC actually is slightly undervalued. You would say it would be undervalued down at these levels based on the numbers that I have looked at in AMC. On the 30-minute is what we are going to be paying attention to. We can give another check mark there. Okay, so now that we know there's a bunch of check marks, this squeeze can happen. That's overall what this is saying. I'm not saying it has to happen. I'm not saying it's for sure going to happen. I'm saying I'm going to put a chunk of money in here to say, hey, if I can take some money from some billionaires who talk badly about people like they did in the video I just showed you guys, that is what I am going to do in this environment. Now I'm going to give you some levels to pay attention to as well. So I have actually, we do something on this channel, which is those weekly expected moves and those monthly expected moves. So I made an expected move from now until the end of the month for AMC and till the end of the week. And I'm going to show you guys those numbers in a second. But the overall signal that I was paying attention to here, I'm actually going to have to pull this up real quick because the last time that this happened, what did we see? Well, we saw a 30-minute. We saw the 30-minute chart climb up into a big bounce, where we're up like 200%, and then we saw that dip down, and this is what we were talking about live. We talked about this on the first bar. This is most likely going to pull back on the 30-minute, and that's exactly what ended up happening. So what did it look like back then? And I just have to click into it real quick, but here it is. So this is the chart from back then, and this is what I was overall talking about in the overall market was you're going to see these dips down. Now, this is not the best screenshot. I didn't do this the best, but over in this area, you're going to see where we dip down for a brief moment, and then that's when the explosive move happens. So I made sure to screenshot this for you right before, and there's that green bar I was talking about live that hinted like, hey, a strong move is coming. We busted up into this area, and that's going to be really big. So what do we have right now? Well, we haven't necessarily got that busting up move for AMC, but I'm going to tell you, GME is looking pretty strong here. That looks like a pretty strong bar, and we're going to have to see if that continues on into tomorrow. But I'm holding no matter what. I don't care if I lose all of this money. I do not care. I'm not going to sell until we really hit the points where they can feel some extreme pain. Okay, so overall, the signal that you really have to pay attention to, and it's so simple, is the 30-minute beating down and able to curl up. Now, if you're part of my Patreon, I actually gave a subliminal message on the 5-minute. I was talking about a 5-minute divergence forming for the next big move. Okay, 5-minute divergences can turn around 30-minute divergences, and when I was really staring at this all day today, I was sitting there going, you know, up in this area, right around this area here, I was like, okay, if this dipped back down, this would be a sign that momentum is dying out. And look at that. Well, just barely above these lows here, but we did come down to that point, and it almost looks like a solid divergence on the MACD and RSI at the same time. If that can go positive, the next big move is coming. So I think the next big move might come as soon as tomorrow for AMC. So if that big move is going to come over the next few days, we'll have to pay attention to some things here. What do I want to pay attention to? The levels that I have found for AMC Now, I don't have levels for GME because the halting it really made it hard to find the correct implied volatility, but I'm going to scroll out. This is what the options market has priced in for as high as AMC can go by Friday. Now, this isn't saying this has to happen. That is priced in. We could land anywhere in this zone. We could land right where we are. We could land lower than where we are as of right now with the price. We could land lower than 6.85, so $6.85. We could end lower than that. But just know, if we get that big rapid move up this week, this is where people most likely will take profit. That is what the options market does. They price in how high this could go, and this is what it's looking like to the upside as of Friday close, 253.77. So if we hit this point before Friday, be a little worried because those sellers can come in. And then if we want to say a whole monthly move, well, towards the end of the month, that is, by the end of the month, it's actually priced in from the options market to go as high as 362.69. So from a risk to reward standpoint, I put $2,000 behind this. That's all I put behind it because that's all I'm willing to lose. I do this for my job, right? I make money in the stock market. I have a family. I have a daughter. I'm not able to risk a ton of money, but I am willing to put some skin in the game to show I am here with it. I am all for it. And I hope that this goes well for a lot of people. And thank you so much to everyone who joined my live and enjoyed our chat this morning and who are part of Patreon who caught my subliminal message about the 5-minute divergences. One quick note about IWM before we get into the SPY. IWM was very affected by this AMC and GameStop stuff going on, and now you have a big range for tomorrow. Now, there is a big range for pretty much every single index at this point for tomorrow because we get CPI. So we have an environment where we have something crazy going on with the short squeeze, and then we also have CPI coming out tomorrow. So if CPI comes out bad, will this crash down? Most likely, or will AMC and GME crash down? Most likely not, okay? They are their own beast at this point, and people are buying that to really stick it to someone. So I highly doubt that these people are paying attention to CPI. They're just saying, I'm buying this thing to hurt the big guy, and I think that's what's overall going to go on there. So even with a bad CPI print, I really see AMC and GME really going higher if we are going to continue to squeeze. So that is what I think is going to happen going forward, and I don't think CPI will affect it at all, but that will be interesting to see IWM's behavior tomorrow. Notice there is a big range for tomorrow. If you want these levels to the upside, we have 212.14 to the upside, and we have 201.58 to the downside. Now, as we switch over to the SPY, we're going to get into that technical analysis. Okay, we're finally getting back into our regular video where we talk about technical analysis. So at this point, what are we doing? We're riding the 5-day all the way up. We haven't lost it yet. And what were we paying attention to? Well, actually, today we were paying attention to a 15-minute. So when did I get out of all of my shorts? Okay, I had shorts throughout the day today, just not a big amount because I know this environment is squeezing to the upside, which is funny because we are currently in a short squeeze across the board pretty much in the indices here, while at the same time a short squeeze is happening with GME and AMC. So this environment is going to be wild tomorrow. So I encourage you to subscribe and tune in live tomorrow morning, as we are live every single morning. So when did I get out of this move? Well, remember what I was talking about live. If this does not curl down and go negative and remain negative, taking out this low, we are most likely going to see another move higher, maybe to test this level again and see that fade, but that did not fade. Okay, so as of right now, where are we? We're in positive territory. You have the 15-minute heading up, and we're starting to get rid of all of these divergences. Okay, so we do have that one divergence up at this level, but I would just say right now we're squeezing. It's going to be very dependent on the data. So I need some levels to pay attention to, but this is where I got out of all of my shorts, pretty much on these buy-up bars. I was like, okay, we're not going to break the low, so I got out right in this area, even though the line in the sand was this bar right here. This bar right here told you crossing up on the MACD in positive territory. This should have been the sign, hey, I might not want to take any more downside here because it looks like we're going to curl up into positive territory. What happens on the MACD? Well, if we go up into positive territory, we see that MACD cross up, positivity comes, the positive trend can continue. This really never flipped negative, and so I had no reason to take downside. Now I'm just going to zoom out to a 2-hour and show you guys how this thing is just cooked, but it's just continuing up into positive territory at this point. So CPI very well could crash the market. It can. And I'm not saying that. It's more CPI can give data that causes the yields to go up, which puts banks under pressure, and then that can crash the market. But CPI can cause a pullback in the meantime until the next bit of news. That's how I would overall talk about it. So I need some levels to pay attention to, and you're not even seeing the daily expected move. Look where that daily expected move is. It's right by the weekly. Okay, so to the upside, you're going to want to pay attention to 529.03 to the upside and 517.57 to the downside. Okay, this is a very big range. range. So tomorrow is going to be very, very important with the CPI coming out and with all the craziness with AMC and GME. So we'll be going over a lot of this stuff live. I'm just going to quickly flip over to the Qs. You know, it's a similar thing, right? The 15-minute curled up, and that's when you know not to take any more downside for the Qs. That's when you kind of know, hey, I don't want to get, you have to pay attention to how you can get screwed. That's what we talk about a lot on this channel. You always want to pay attention to how the market can really screw you over. So I am not short in this at all at this moment. If anything, I'm just seeing how AMC and GME do, and then I'm waiting to see what happens with CPI so I can react to that move. So I need some levels to pay attention to tomorrow. Remember, 552 or 452, sorry, 452.20 to the upside. That's what I'm paying attention to the upside. That's priced in from the options market, and 439.66. So this is what is priced in from the options market, which means if we get excited to the upside or excited to the downside, we have a 68% chance to land in this zone. Now, if that starts to happen and stay out of that zone towards the end of the day, a little less likely for that to pop back up. I just wanted to point that out because you do have a 32% chance to land outside of these zones. So something very, very interesting going on there. If CPI is a good print, what if we just see this thing go ballistic and really, really start to squeeze? Because the 2 hour, yeah, it's overbought, but the last squeeze we had back when we had the bear market, those squeezes really got the 2 hour overbought. So this will be interesting going into tomorrow. Just be very, very careful. We trade like water on this channel. We just move around the rocks in the stream and figure out which way is leading into the meta. We don't want to end up in the sewer. So that's why we pay attention to how we can get screwed out of a trade. And you guys are doing just fine if you're trading like water because you knew, hey, the 15-minute curled up. There's no reason for me to take a short. Well, if that starts to curl down into negative territory, that might be a different standpoint from there. We might have to flip the script. Now, Apple is one that's screaming like, hey, this is as high as I'm supposed to go for the entire week. And it's not even Wednesday yet, right? So we were talking a lot about this live, and we talked about Tesla as well. We're going to get into that next. But right now, what do you have? A 2 hour divergence. If that starts to complete, which it slightly did here, but not really too confirming there, right? Just a slight red bar here, but nothing too crazy. We buy back up right in the next bar. So we really want to pay attention to if this actually sees some good selling, loses some moving averages, hey, we can head down to this zone. Remember, Apple likes to touch into a zone and then see the next big move. And as we are outside of that weekly expected move as of right now, that's a little bit worrisome. Going into a 30-minute, what are we seeing right here? A divergence right at the end of the day. So even though these technicals are giving you divergences, they can lead towards the CPI really being bad news here. And the PPI was bad news, and it turned out to be good news. So bad news is good news, and good news is good news in this environment, apparently. So what do we want to pay attention to? Well, if this actually did go negative, okay, if the 30-minute is able to go negative here, then that 2 hour can really roll over, and we can talk about a bigger pullback or maybe some kind of stock market crash. So what were we saying about Tesla after this big move here? Well, as a trader, I would really like to see this do some kind of double bottom, really confirm this as a base. But we did mention if it decides to scoop up and break out. And what did we say if it breaks out? If it breaks out, watch that weekly expected move. We came outside that weekly expected move. We talked about this live, and right when we said, no, I would not take upside for Tesla, it looks like the pullback is coming. That pullback began. Okay, but this has not rolled over. It hasn't gone negative yet. Look for if it creates some kind of divergence for you. That could be telling for some kind of double top on a 15-minute. But as of right now, you're just curling up into positive territory. If I go into 15-minute, you're just going to see this wants to curl up maybe again into positive territory. So another positive move can come if that CPI news is good for Tesla. But just know the options market is saying these wicks right here are pretty much as high as Tesla is supposed to go this week. And we're already hitting that before Wednesday. So you have a lot of time to end up back in this zone. We could do some kind of ballistic move, see something break, and then things end up back down. But remember that as we do get outside and stay outside of this zone, maybe we take back 180.92, maybe we react to 180.92, and then that starts to drop off. Remember, I think 180.92, very important level to pay attention to. But this was a good setup here on the 15-minute. We overall pointed out how there's a flatness on the RSI, almost down on the RSI. So if you go into a 5-minute, you're going to see a divergence. But this looks a little bit flaggy here. We could end up going lower for Tesla. That is as high as it's supposed to go for the entire week. And we're already there. And we have 3 more days left of trading. Amazon, we did talk about this. This was a great trade setup. It has a triple divergence on the MACD, right? Great trade setup here. Triple divergence on the MACD and able to go negative. See how that one remained negative. In the SPY, you saw that curl right back up. That's not good. You want that to remain negative. If this curled right back up, there's no reason to take any shorts any further at that point. But right now, what are we seeing? Well, we actually got a little like 15-minute or something divergence down here. If you go into it, what are we seeing? We're in negative territory still. We're trying to go positive. We're trying to go positive. But if that just rolls over, well, we have negative territory right there. That trend can continue to the downside into negative territory. So overall, what you want to pay attention to early on in the day is that confirming more downside? Well, then that might make some kind of double bottom. We might go make a new low. But overall, all you need to know is when we do cross over on that 30-minute MACD into negative territory, what do? We test the low, or we go make a new one. So Amazon looking very weak at this level, and we talked about this a lot live, how the daily is why it looks kind of weak. So even though we're in an environment where we can squeeze, we have to be on our toes. We have to really be on our toes. Jerome Powell coming out and saying, hey, don't worry about bank failures. Remember, don't worry, inflation's transitory. Remember all that. Remember, don't worry about anything. Once they tell you not to worry is usually when you should start to worry a little bit. This looks like a double top at this point. So if CPI is bad, Amazon can really suffer from here because the momentum is really dead to the upside. We see selling in the move, few red bars here, but if that's good news, well, we very well might see some kind of squeeze to the upside, see that start to base out and keep going. So we could squeeze to the upside, get high up on this MACD, and this will not be the moment. I just wanted to point that out in today's video. But Amazon right now, not looking the strongest at this point. But this could be what? It could be a big V-shaped cup, maybe a handle comes, and then we're able to go higher with Amazon if we get some good news. Now, NVIDIA is one that we were talking about, and this looked pretty flaggy up here. It looked pretty dang flaggy up here, so what were we paying attention to? Well, the daily is in positive territory, so we have to talk positively about it. And the 2 hour is what we're really paying attention here. You're getting some confirmation at the end of the day, but really your main confirmation here is going to be breaking through this high, kind of a breakout style trade, right? If we just curve down, curve back up, maybe we create a little handle or something like that. But if we break through this high, we can go make a new one. We'll watch out for little divergences and things, but look at this. It's not that overbought the last time it was there, so maybe this thing wants to get really overbought right now and then see some kind of ABC pattern. We'll pay attention to this and be talking a lot about NVIDIA Live, as well as AMC and GME, since that's going to be a very popular topic. Now, AMD did curl up at the end of the day. So AMD actually telling you like, hey, I confirmed some upside here. So it does have room to the upside. It can go all the way up towards 160.87. And why do I like that point? Well, that is where we would make some structure to actually head higher in this overall move. So we're in an environment where we actually can see stocks go up. We can see stocks go up. And if they keep going up, that's going to be a little worrisome. Remember, I told you to pay attention to utilities. That move in utilities is very, very big. So we'll pull that up maybe in a little bit after we're done doing the technical analysis after Meta. So we'll pay attention to this. But right now, confirming that upside, the thing about this MACD right here, I want to really zoom into it and show you it's not positive yet. So that tells you this tomorrow is really a 50-50 flip. And AMD is really going to depend, I think, on that CPI print tomorrow. So very, very scary. But if you took this, all I say is we're trading like water, which means what? We have a stop. We have a stop in place in case that goes the wrong way on us. So how could we get screwed out of this move? Well, it's going to be the 30-minute rolling over into negative territory. That's going to be your signal like, hey, I need to be a little bit more patient. And now this could flip right back around. It doesn't mean you can't get back into this move. It's just, hey, as from a risk perspective, if that crosses over and goes negative here, if that crosses over at all, you're right by negative territory. So if that has some kind of dramatic drop, that's going to be scary. Taking upside before CPI, I'm kind of glad I'm not in any positions across the board. I'm in no positions now except for my TLT investment at 82.50, so I'm perfectly fine with that. But as of right now, I am not in any kind of trade besides the ape trade, besides the hodling trade, right? That's the only one I have right now because I'm going to wait for that CPI. Meta was able to beat down. This was a trade that I was in. I didn't scale in perfectly here, so I think I broke even on this trade pretty much, and we're seeing that build back up. So this is one I got rid of once it crossed on this MACD. I actually got rid of that pretty quick because I was like, it's just not the best price point for me. I didn't do it the best. I didn't pay attention to the charts enough. I had to go away. I'm moving and things like that this weekend, so I'm really having a lot going on behind the scenes. So I'm glad I'm not in any positions right now. But what happens to the downside if this can curl over? Well, negative territory. So the thing is, it didn't really give you a direction before that event, so you can't really say anything with the tech. It's really a 50-50 flip, right? We could flip a coin on it or something like that, but you're right at the center line. So if that curls down, negative territory is right there. We continue a negative trend. And then if we actually flip to the upside, well, we're going to go back to positive territory. And this might just squeeze to the upside because CPI is going to be huge, huge news tomorrow. This is where I wanted to talk about utilities. Remember, I was talking about how utilities sees a major upward move. We pointed that out over our weekend video. I highly encourage you to go back and look at Sunday's video for the utilities portion of it, because utilities does a lot when you're about to see a top in the market, and the one signal is the daily crossing over on the MACD, and we're seeing major strength from utilities, which is usually right what you see before a major top. Okay, so I still believe a major top is forming, but the craziness can continue. This is moving sideways at this point, right? This is sideways behavior, and now what? The 30 minutes down by the center line. So what happens when the MACD curls up here? Well, positive trend can continue, so we can break through these levels and see a new high here if utilities grabs some liquidity in this area, and it's built up some liquidity in this area. So the thing you want to pay attention to is the daily rolling over. The daily rolling over, I actually looked back at this, and if you want to look at that video from, was it Sunday? We actually talked about this, how, okay, if this starts to roll over and get a red print down here on the histogram, that actually is a good signal that after a huge run, when you get these huge runs, we pointed those out as well in that Sunday video, and if you see that start to cross down, it's almost like within the next 2 weeks, the market usually tops. So just pay attention to this. Now, if we're going to see a different kind of environment, we're still paying attention to the signals on the SPY. Just because this one signal proves itself will not convince me that the whole market is going to crash down. It's a signal to pay attention to, but I have to see that proven in the overall market. Volatility is curling up. Okay, we're curling up towards this towards a crossing on the MACD. If that can go positive, we very well might get a crash. Okay, so CPI can cause some volatility. The big thing here is, we pointed out, and what I was trying to do before we experienced a power outage, was tell you guys how volatility is just higher. So we're going to see some bigger swings, and that's what we're getting in the market. We're getting some big swings as of right now. So what can we pay attention to here? Volatility did beat down. It's in negative territory, so that very well, that can continue, right? That can continue as it's in negative territory. But if that crosses up, look, positive's right there. So we could get another move higher. We'll look for any kind of divergences at this level. With today's PPI behavior, we could just see the market continue to go up. And that's what we were talking about on our Saturday video. On our Saturday video, we were like, will CPI crash the market? Most likely not, because even if CPI causes some kind of pullback, the market's higher, even with all those bad CPI readings, even in 2024. Right, we had bad readings in CPI for years now, and then we had some good ones and okay ones, and then we had some bad ones in 2024, and the market continues to go higher, and it looks like we may even go to a new all-time high. So paying attention to the VIX, paying attention to volatility, all I need to take from this is the swings are going to be big. I got to be on my toes, and I encourage you to trade like water. So I believe the main takeaway here is volatility is a little higher, and we have to trade like water. We have to play these big swings, and we have to react to the data, and that's the important part, and why I'm glad I'm not in any positions, because of how the reaction was to PPI. It really convinced me, like, hey, don't take anything before CPI, because what did we see? A terrible reading from the PPI. PPI really exploded higher, but because they revised the old number, people are going to think, oh, they're just going to revise that next month, and it's going to be fine, right? So that really, really should upset a lot of traders, and that's why I am all in for this GME, for this GameStop and this AMC play. I think that it would do a lot of good in this environment, and I'm just loving being a part of it. It's so much fun to watch all these videos from Roaring Kitty. So now I hope you guys have all the luck in the world trading. I really do, and thank you so much for watching. We're going to be watching this stuff live. If you would like to join us tomorrow morning, we're live every single morning. When I do move, I'm going to tell you guys like kind of the schedule and things like that, because the move, I have to get internet, I have to do all those things. So we may have a few days where we can't stream. I know you guys will miss me, but you just know I always wish you guys all the luck. I just really want you to be successful. I want you always to be learning. That's why I created this channel, was to help people learn, and I'm really dedicated to that, because I love trading stocks. I really do. Even though I hate how a lot of it is rigged, I've learned how to play their game and read the signals correctly, and if I keep going with those signals, we can all make some money in this market if you learn those skills. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. I wish you nothing but luck in all your trading for the rest of the week, and I will see you in the morning for CPI. Peace.